who in 2027 will actually be voters. And they represent so many of them. A whole nation awaits out there for us to avoid making any mistakes with regard to our constitutional reality that Kenya shall be and is a multi-party democracy. Let me therefore begin by expressing my sincere gratitude for CMD's 20 plus years of hard effort to consolidate Kenyan democracy. You have collaborated closely with political parties, with actors, strategic partners, and important stakeholders to promote social justice, political governance, best practices, human rights, and basic freedoms. Furthermore, as CMD, you've given a forum for political parties, for all players, for Kenyans, policymakers, and in order to be able to participate in debate and collaborate on developing multi-party democracy. CMD Kenya has been an invaluable resource assisting in the development of democratic standards and providing knowledge for strengthening democratic governance institutions. The Wiper Democratic Movement that I have the privilege of leading has been a major beneficiary of your time and resources. So accepting the offer to speak at this event, at the People's Dialogue Festival 2024, was at least the least I could do. However, when I saw the allocated topic, I nearly changed my mind. The topic for discussion today is picked by, has actually engaged my interest: governance reforms, economic social development from an alternative opposition's perspective, especially in consideration of the main theme of the People's Dialogue Festival 2024, competition and collaboration in democratic development. Very well elaborated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is fair to say that we live in very uncertain times. Many individuals, including journalists, political scientists, and indeed politicians, feel that our current political issues are inescapable and must be confronted head-on. That ideological incoherence may be due to party weaknesses, and all an increasingly disillusioned Kenyan public makes governance reforms, indeed actual socioeconomic progress, very difficult. They are not wrong, at least for the most part, since the question of what constitutes good governance persists. In 1996, for example, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, stated that, I quote, promoting good governance in all its aspects, including by ensuring the primacy of the rule of law, improving the efficiency and accountability of the public sector, and tackling corruption, are essential elements of a framework within which economies can prosper, end of quote. In my opinion, or from the viewpoint of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, represented here at this function by both Wiper and DAP, in our view, the political commitment by Kenya Kwanza, its administrative ability, and state-society interactions are really the main issue. We believe that they have not been up to the challenge, and that it was this state of inertia, or better yet, I quote, mpende muspende, mupende musipende, mutadu, that kind of attitude, mutadu, that led to the nationwide maandamano protests over the cost of living. As Azimio, we kept asking the following questions. What would it take to change the socio-economic and political outcomes we were witnessing? Remember? Another quote-unquote stolen election? And what changes would be required to strengthen the political system's alignment with the public interest and move forward our country socio-economically? In addition, based on my experience as our country's 10th vice president. I think somebody did introduce me as such. And I was actually appointed Minister for Foreign Affairs twice, among many other ministerial portfolios. Just reminded the young ones that once I was Minister for Education, and my contribution to Kenyan society community was that I outlawed corporal punishment as Minister for Education. And I believe I've made some effort as lead mediator in several of our neighboring states in order to achieve at least stability, measure of stability. I'm so proud to see that Somalia just the other day deposited instruments that makes Somalia now the 8th member of the East African community. What an achievement. I believe that for meaningful change to take place, the other side, quote unquote, needs to acknowledge the existence of a significant issue of national importance, or indeed an issue that constitutes threat to national stability and coherence. That governance reforms are both beneficial and the most practical way to stem the tide of revolt. It's only that Kenyans now did not have the wherewithal. Kenya was ready to be a Sri Lanka. It can still be a Sri Lanka if people don't listen with elephant ears. On August 30th, 2023, Kenyans witnessed a collaboration for democratic development. This was when a framework to steer bipartisan negotiations, the National Dialogue Committee, we refer to it as NADCO, of which I was co-chair, was signed in the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi. Or did we sign at Hilton Place near the airport, following the committee's approval by both chambers of bicameral parliament, therefore anchoring it into law. I know that Kimani Ichung'wah, my younger brother, was here and must have presented a speech of some kind to you. Yeah? I hope you had time to interrogate Kimani Ichung'wah. Both parties' agendas were consolidated into 5 thematic areas, namely, 1, constitutional matters, and therefore we are looking at Article 43 of the Constitution, the cost of living and related issues, and implementation of the 2/3 gender rule. And yesterday I declared myself a champion for the 2/3 gender rule. Governance issues, including promoting national unity and inclusivity in public appointments and adequate checks and balances. Talk of promoting national unity and inclusivity in public appointments. The High Court just ruled the recent appointments at KRA, one of state corporations, unconstitutional because they demonstrated blatant appetite for negative ethnicity. This country belongs to all the 43, 44 communities in this country. That was an issue we were able to deal with. And B, on electoral justice. And under that topic, we dealt with restructuring and reconstitution of the IEBC, as well as boundaries delimitation, and thirdly, audit of the 2022 presidential election. This is so vital, so vital. Even if people are not going to have another election, it's important to know where did the rain start beating us. And therefore, this audit thing is a key plank, it's a key recommendation by a NADCO committee. Thirdly, entrenching funds into the Constitution. The National Government Constituency Development Fund, CDF, as you know, the Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional. We had to look for a cure of this matter in order to help our people at that level, at every constituency level. And then the National Government's Affirmative Action Fund, mainly administered by the county women representatives, the 47 of them. And then we also looked at the Senate Oversight Fund. D, which was a 4th agenda item, was establishment of state offices. And this actually came from the Kenya Kwanza side, Number one, the office of the leader of the official opposition, and number two, the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. We all recognize that in order to touch this matter, you do need a referendum. Whatever arrangements then need to be done at the present moment can only be seen to be temporary, while the country awaits to go to the necessary referendum at the opportune time. And the number 5 agenda item, which was key and I think most relevant during this political party's festival. And I really like the word festival, because in a festival, enjoy. In a festival, you do your own thing. The children were dancing for us. Kumbe, you can have actually a political party festival. Next time, and I've seen the big show by the political parties, they were actually pulling me, come and sign a book and do whatever. And then I said to myself, hey, I didn't sign order, maybe next time. Yeah. If they put up a big show, if they get their act together. But I went and signed my friend Weta's Ford Kenya in the hope you will not wind it up. I signed ANC to send a signal to my friend Mudavadi, as then Oka, say you made a mistake, you don't get swallowed up by UDA. But happy, there are still people there. Therefore, fidelity to political parties and coalitions and the law on multi-party democracy, and specifically dealing with the issue of preventing interference with political parties. What has been happening to Jubilee? I went and signed with passion the book for Jubilee, because I was, by so doing, along with my brother Eugene, sending a signal: you will not kill Jubilee. It's a political party in this country, and stop interfering. The party belongs to its members. It cannot belong to an individual. So we dealt with this matter extensively and made the recommendation, including amending Article, I think 103, or is it, of the Constitution, where if you jump from one political party to go to another one, using political parties as vehicles, first of all, it means you have no ideology, and what I refer to political ideology incoherence, and then you use it as a stepping stone. You are the wrong type of a leader. The children have just been telling us here that they look at politicians as liars. People who are just led by what is in their own interest. They don't care about anybody else's interest. Ni mimi na mimi peke yangu. Had we played fidelity to political parties' arrangement, we are clear in our minds that Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya coalition would be the majority in parliament. But Kimani came here and signed and talked about it as a leader. Yeah. So these are some of the issues that we had to deal with. After 3 months of difficult negotiations, NADCO submitted its report on November 29th, 2023. As I previously mentioned, after the anticipated initial friction and mistrust, the parties gelled and collaborated efficiently. Trust returned to our ranks, and we demonstrated a strong sense of commitment to peace and reconciliation in our country. We have no other way but to actually talk to each other, because we don't talk to each other, talk with each other, we end up talking to each other, we end up fighting each other. And that is clearly not in the spirit, in the best spirit of our supreme law in the land, Constitution 2010. So I stated that this report was only the beginning, as it includes flaws or certain things, and was also incomplete, as we agreed to disagree on the most important issue, most important matter to us as Azimio la Umoja One Coalition. The core of the relationship between the Azimio Coalition and the Kenya Kwanza administration, and indeed the people of Kenya, has, in my opinion, been damaged by the continued rise in the cost of living. That was, to us, the most important issue. The Finance Act of 2023 increases in taxation, adding to the hardships already faced by the majority of our people. Furthermore, recently the Interior Ministry's instruction to introduce increased taxes, fees, and levies on services provided by the State Department of immigration and citizen services, including obtaining a national identity card. Now you have to pay so much. And this is an entitlement to every Kenyan. Your ID is the most basic document. How do you go and pay for it? This does demonstrate an administration that is out of touch with the realities on the ground. People are suffering. Even the children here, released by their parents to come and listen to us, they look at us as a bunch of liars. We say one thing today, once they're office, they do their other things. Ladies and gentlemen, today I've chosen to be very, very moderate. I don't want to annoy you beyond what you can bear. But I have outlined an example of collaboration between political rivals to implement governance changes and promote economic and social progress. There were both improvements and drawbacks. I'm looking forward to hearing from our panel and other professionals here today about how best we can promote our mutual agenda. I conclude by asking all of us, those sitting and others listening via various links, that we must not lose hope. We must not lose hope. We must keep hope alive because we have no option. One young Kenyan, they asked me, what does umbrella stand for? Oh, I was so happy to explain. Because imagine a situation where we are all, that is Wiper Democratic Party's symbol. All our candidates have to go carrying out umbrellas. But now, I think a time has come where I don't mind, as a party leader of Wiper, donating the umbrella to this country. Because at the end of the day, we are all under one umbrella called Kenya. It has never been as relevant as it is today. There is very much we can do. There is much we can do together for our beloved nation, Kenya.